Hello guys, so this is my other tutorial on the same DROIDSCRIPT version 2. Okay, before you even start learning DROIDSCRIPT, there's a requirement, and that's that you need to know a little bit of JavaScript rather. You don't have to know a lot, you just have to know a little bit, like the very basics of JavaScript. And with just the basics, I'm sure you can do much. So I made this editor that we'll be using. It's this app over here, this app. That's the editor I made. We'll try to write a few JavaScript commands, JavaScript code commands, and whatnot. I'll try to explain the very basics in it. And then now you can also find the same JavaScript documentation in DROIDSCRIPT by clicking this button, then go on introduction, then click on overview, then just here there's JavaScript, then just click on JavaScript. I don't know why it's doing this, but if you were to click it, this would happen, and then you can read through. When you click on basics, you can read through, then you find more info. So yeah, so without further ado, let's start coding. So I'm trying to make this video as brief and more detailed than I can, so let's see. The first thing that I'd love to talk about are comments. Comments are simply write things that help guide your code. Like for example, when you have a lot of code, it's good to keep track, and you can use comments to do that. So for instance, this is a comment where I'm saying like, okay, I have variables. So here so this is a single line comment. There's also multi-line comment where you put a / asterisk and put that. So in whatever code is written in here, it will be ignored by the compiler interpreter, whichever the case. Yeah, it will be ignored. So the first one where you put double /, it's a single quote kind of comment. Single comment, yeah, it's for single verses, single line comments, and then the other one is for multi-line comments, like where you have multiple comments in one line. So yeah. So now on variables, JavaScript has quite a number of variables, and we'll start first. And the first thing that you must know is that when you're declaring a variable, you have to give it a data type. I don't really know if it can even be classified as a data type, but it's the syntax that JavaScript uses, and that's var. You can use var, you can use let, and you can use const. All these are applicable, and they all have their advantages and disadvantages, but for now, just to make things very simple, just stick with var. So you write var, then the name of the variable. So in this case, I've named my variable name, then you can give it a value. So for instance, if I were to let name, it would actually print out the value. So there, link, it would actually print out the value. So that's one type of variable, and apologies for the noise. That's one type of variable. The other one, and this is a string variable, and then there's also another variable that can be that I don't know how you can classify it, but it's just a number variable. So for example, if you write number, like for example, let's say it's just a random number, it doesn't really have to make any sense. Yeah. So like that's how you declare a number variable. If you notice, for a string variable, I put quotes. They can be single quotes or double quotes, but it has to be enclosed somewhere, whether in double quotes or single quotes. These are double quotes. So yeah. And what's for number? For number, it does not require any quotes. It doesn't. Just the way it is, it's fine. Yeah. I don't know why my thing has froze. Jesus. I don't know why why are you freezing? Okay. Okay, let me just try to. Okay, and then this, okay, and then this is of type number or number variable, and then there's also another type of variable which is a boolean type of variable. These variables only have two, I can say two values. It can either be true or it can be false. No other value, just these two. You can make a condition, like for example, 1 is equal to 1. This condition by default we already know, like it's gonna be, oh okay, let me not make this one, this looks kind of new, so let me try to simplify it. So 1 is greater than or equal to 1, which is true. So if we're to alert the same, if we're my goodness, if we're to alert the same boolean, it would actually print out true, because of course 1 is greater than or equal to 1, it is equal to 1. So yeah, it can be a condition, but it only needs, it has to evaluate true or false. And with that, there's also another type of variables, I guess, or I don't really know if you can call it a variable. They're just arrays. Like if you notice, all these are like they only keep one value. Like favorite number only keeps one value, boolean only keeps one value, which was true in this case, and then for the name it kept one value, which was link. But what if you want to keep multiple values? And this is when our arrays come into play. Oh my god, I don't know why it's what's wrong with my phone. Phone, what's wrong with you? Okay, let me try. Okay, var array. Yeah, if you want to keep multiple values, you can use an array, and an array works like that. Like if you just want to keep multiple values, so in this case I want to keep multiple number of values, so here they are. So, and the thing is that in case I want to access any of the elements in that array, I write the name of the array, then the square brackets, then inside the square brackets I put the index of that array. And arrays start from, okay, they start from 0, or index based that starts from 0. So in this case, the first element bears the index of 0, this 1, then this 2, then this 3. So for example, guess what would happen if I were to print out, if I were to write the index 3? Obviously, again, it's failing. Index 3, obviously you might think it's gonna be 3, but no, they're 0 based, so that means that 1 it's 0, then 1, then 2, then 3, so it's gonna print out 4 if I run this thing. So there it is, 4. And if you're not clear, I've written everything on the website where you can check out the full documentation of what I'm talking about. And then the last variable type, I don't know, variable, the thing that can be stored in a variable, it's an object. They're not index based like the way an array is. On the other hand, they're key based. So for example, here's an example of an object. They're written just like this, the same syntax that I'm using, and then you write the key of the object. So in this case it's gonna be name, and then you write the value, then you comma separate sorry about that. So yeah, again, this is a key, the value, and the value, and multiple values multiple contents are comma separated. So in this case also age, and then age just put 10. Wow, huh. Okay, so this is apparently my age, and then we'll put I don't know, maybe I don't know, ID, Yeah, let's try id, and then id will just make true, so that we put everything here. So this is an object, and in case you want to access any of the elements of that object, you write the name of the object dot then the key. In this case the key was name. We can put name, we can put age or id. So I can put id. My goodness, id. I need to print out true. So there. Okay, and yeah, that's pretty much on objects. And the other thing now that I want to talk about is, or rather on variables, the other thing that I want to talk about now is statements. Statements. So in Java we have an if statement with a condition, which has a condition, and based on that condition it will print out something or not. And if not, that's when now we use the else. Else if we have another condition, another condition, and if all the conditions fail, we have a backup option, which is an else. So here, so if this condition is true, run this part of the code, run this. And if it's false, check out the code below. If this is true, now run this. And if this is not true, run the default one, which is else. I hope that was clear. An example, let me just give a good example. So if I don't know why my phone is so slow, but really it is what it is. So for example, name, referring to this variable name. So we say if name this is kind of something. If name is equal to let's say link, let me just remove this. Let name, and then here now we say if name is equal to maybe codes, let hi, I am code, link code, yeah, something like that. And then else LOL. I don't know, like I couldn't think of anything better. So yeah, so now if you try to guess what's gonna happen is that this code is actually gonna print link, cause the name is link. This name is actually equals to link. So yeah, there. But if I change the name to code, I don't know, this is slow and I don't know why it's doing like this. I actually have no idea. If codes rather, it's now gonna print out, hey, I'm code, link code, codes, yeah. So yeah, hey, I'm code, link code. So like that, because this was false, so it checked the other condition to see if it was true, and which was true. So it printed out this and then skipped everything else, then forgot about this thing. But if none of the conditions are true, in this case, let's put something. My goodness, like this code, it just print out LOL. So yeah, that's the thing or two about conditions. So yeah. And then now the other thing apart from that, I forgot to talk about the operators. Like for instance, this operator, like the one where you put double equal to signs, it's actually an equal to. And like this one is you're assigning a link to you're assigning link to name. So this one is an assignment operator. This one, it's a comparison operator. In this case, it's an equal to sign. And then there is also there are also other operators like my goodness. There's also greater than, there's also less than or equal to, and there's less than on its own, there's greater than, there's not equal to, which is an exclamation mark with an equal to sign, that's not equal to. So in this case, if you try to guess a code, it's gonna print out LOL because name is actually link. So it's trying to, so what here it's writing is like link is not equal to link, which is false. So, and this is never gonna run because it's false, because this is false. So the backup part is gonna run, which is LOL. Okay, and then let's now talk about loops. Loops. Okay. Loops, the best definition I can give for loops are, it's not even moving. Okay, it's now moving. Okay, so loops are if you want to do a repetitive task like over and over again, that's what loops come into play. Just like the name itself, loop, is just redoing the same thing over and over. And JavaScript offers, I think, 3. There's a while loop, a for loop, and a do while loop, but I'll just talk about these 2. Just like similar to an if statement, a while loop also is based on a condition. If this condition is true, then do this. So and last but not least, also has an incrementer. So let's just write that incrementer. We can just make a variable I, like a certain incrementer, decrementer. And in case you want more info about incrementers and decrementers, it's like you're trying to increment something based after, you're just trying to increment something. That's the best definition I can give. And then decrementer, you're trying to decrement the value of something. So make a variable I, which will be equals to 0. And so now our condition is this: if I is greater than or equal to 5, just greater than it is greater than or equal to 5, let's alert that I. You wanna guess what's gonna print out? So try to guess. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, then stop, because 5 is not greater than 5. So the first iteration is that I was 0, so we printed I, then we incremented I by 1, which this way is this way. I don't know what's wrong with this code editor. I actually have no idea, or maybe it's my phone, I don't know. Okay, so this condition is the same as well. I put I, then I put is equal to I plus 1. It's just the same, because it's still gonna print out the same. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, then stop, like that. Oh, and one last thing, I forgot to tell you something. Every time when you're writing your Java statements, always end your statement with a full colon. It's just good practice. It can run even without, but just good practice to end them with a full colon. And so that's that. And then the other one, in this case, it's a for loop. A for loop is just like a while loop, but you write everything. Like if you notice here, there was first the declaration of this variable, then the condition in here, then there was an incrementer. But a for loop joins all 4 statements, like all 3 statements into one, just for simplicity. My goodness. Okay, so in this case we'll make the same variable int var I is equal to 0, then the condition, which is I is greater than 5, and then the incrementer, which was I plus. Yeah, so yeah, and then the only thing that I have to do is just let I, then I can just comment this out because it might break my code, and also I'm sure to break a lot of code. Let me just comment this out completely. Yeah, so if you looked at this one required like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines of code. On the other hand, this one just required 3, and it's so simple because we did everything in just 3 lines of code, which is quite okay. It does the same thing, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the same thing. It's just the same. And now the question is, where do you use a while loop and where do you use a for loop? A while loop is used when you know the number of iterations. Like for example, here I knew the number of iterations, like I just needed 5 iterations. So here 0, that was the first iteration, 1 second iteration, 2, 3, 4, 5 iterations. I knew like I just wanted 5 iterations, like loops or repetitions. And then a while loop is used when you don't know how many iterations you're gonna make. You don't know, and that's when now these other conditions come into play. Like for example, it was doing 5 iterations starting from 0 up to 4, which is 5. So 0 was 1, then yeah, you get the point. So for example, let's now try something fancy. Like if I is equal to maybe 3, let's break the code. By writing break. You can use this. It's mostly used in a while loop, but even here you can use it because I told you again the difference between a for loop and a while loop. So we don't know the number of iterations. We know the number of iterations. For loop, we know the number of iterations. So in this case, it will print 1, 2, 3, 4. I mean to print 0, 1, 2, 3, then break. Okay, let me just make it more realistic. It will print 0, 1, 2, and then it will break. It won't print 3 and 4. So here 0, 1, 2, then that's all. It's done. So that's why now I use this, and then continue, and then there's also continue. Continue. Okay, there's also continue. Okay, what continue does? It's different from it's different from break. Continue, instead of breaking the whole loop and coming out of the loop, it actually skips what's below, then just increments the value of I. So in this case, it's gonna be something like it will print 1, 2, to print 0, 1, and then when it reaches on 2, it will skip it, then go to 3, then increment it, because when it's 2, okay, look at this cursor, follow the cursor. So what's gonna do is that I is first 0, so it will print, so it will skip this one because I, which is 0, is not equals to 2, so it will skip this, then go to let I, which is 0, then increment that I, then I will now be 1, then to check is 1 equal to 2. No, it's not. It will skip this, then this will now let 1, then to increment it to 2, then I, which is equal to 2, and I, to try to check if I is equal to 2, which is true, then instead of going down, it will actually just continue and increment the value of I. I will now be 3. So to print 0, 1, then skip what's below here, because 2 is equals to 2i, which is 2 is equals to 2, increment it, then go up, then now it will now be 3, then I will now be 3, and then now it will print 3 and 4. In other words, you just skip 2. And if you don't get it, try to run the code, and yeah, you see, it actually makes sense. So 0, 1, then 3, then 4. Yeah, so that's how continue works. And then the last thing that I'd love to talk about now, it's functions. Functions. Oh no. Okay, functions are a block of code that do a specific task. So I can make a block of code that adds 2 numbers. So that's what we're gonna do, just to show you how functions are. So functions always start with a keyword function, then the name of the function, which is add in this case. It can be any name, and then inside here it has parameters. So parameters will call it x and y. Parameters are like inputs into a function. Yeah, they're like inputs. So here add, and what it's gonna do now is that it's gonna allate x plus y, which is just adding the 2 numbers. So we've created a function that actually adds 2 numbers. Yeah. Oh yeah, and I also forgot, there are also math operators. Like for instance, you can use a plus, you can use a minus, you can use times, which is an asterisk, and you can use a forward slash for dividing. You can use modulus as a remainder. Try them out to see what it gives you. Then if you're not clear, please do inbox me. Yeah, there's a link where I publish all these files and whatnot. Yeah, because relating to the same DROIDSCRIPT. So here we are. Okay, so yeah, so yeah, that's what this function is gonna do. It's just gonna add 2 values, and here we've just made the function, but the function will never run unless you call it. So calling a function is that you put the name of the function, then here you put now arguments. These were parameters, now we put arguments. Arguments are like actual values that you put, actual values. So in this case we put 1 and 79, 78, 79, right? And you guessed it, the answer is gonna be 80. We can change, we can actually, because the thing about a function, once you make it, is that you can assign pretty much different values, and since it's more like a block of code that does a specific task. This block of code was made to do addition of 2 numbers. They can be any numbers. It doesn't have to, it doesn't just have to be 1 and 79. And the other benefits that you can redo the same, or you can recall the function over and over using different parameters. And the other thing is that at times the function does not even need parameters. It's cool, it doesn't even need them. So here, let's do some complex math, like really complex math that it's pretty hard. Add and you see how smart your computer is. Then add first it to give us 80, then this number that obviously I couldn't add in like 3 seconds, or I mean in like 0.001 second. So yeah, I guess with just that knowledge, I think if you did understand this, then you're ready. So yeah, I'm just joking. It's in case you're not clear, you can also text me. And and on the same site there's a form. On that form, that's why now you can write your name, your email, and also the message. And the message can be, if you're not clear on a particular thing, then I'll try to explain it. I'll reply to your email directly, then try to explain what you're not clear on, or yeah, so we can make things better as we progress with our courses. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe, you guys. Thank you.